As we usually do on this Mountains and Rivers expedition, we study the Dogen Zenji's Mountains and Rivers Sutra. Although Dogen is talking about mountains and rivers, in one sense he's talking about actually mountains and rivers, and in another sense he's talking about our practice.
Mountains and Rivers Sesshin were sort of invented by Gary Snyder after Dogen's Mountains and Rivers Sutra. I went on one of those and I came back from that and I thought that was really great, and I mentioned it to Mel and to a few other people, and I've been doing that ever since.
The Blue Mountains are constantly walking. The stone woman gives birth to a child in the night. The walking of the mountains is like that of men. Do not doubt that the mountains walk simply because they may not appear to walk like humans.
Mountains are always moving, waters are always moving. Everything is continually in flux. At the same time, everything is, each thing, each dharma fills the whole universe as its dharma position.
Walking forward has never ceased. Walking backward has never ceased. Walking forward does not oppose walking backward, nor does walking backward oppose walking forward. This virtue is called the mountain flowing, the flowing mountain.
Dogen says to study the Buddha Dharma is to study the self. And to study the self is to forget the self. So forgetting the self is to open up to the whole universe as yourself. The walking of the self should include stepping forward and the stepping back, because when walking, this step goes forward and this step is back. And then this step goes forward and this step is back. A moment is like a step ahead and a step behind, because each moment contains both forward movement and backward movement. We call the forward movement birth, and we call the backward movement death.
The stone woman gives birth to a child in the night. At the time of birth, are both parent and child transformed? We must study and fully understand not only that birth is actualized in the child becoming the parent, but also that the practice and verification of the phenomenon of birth occurs when the parent becomes the child.
When we have a Sesshin here in Berkeley, inside, it's very programmed, which is good. It means that everything's taken care of and you pretty much know what you have to do, therefore you don't have to think about it. When we go out to Point Reyes or some other outdoor place, it's a little more complicated. We're back to pretty simple things, a backpack and a stove and a few things like that, but not a whole lot of stuff. And see how we deal with it.
Innumerable laborers brought us this food. May we know how it comes to us. Receiving this offering, let us consider whether our virtue and practice deserve it. Desiring the natural order of mind, let us be free from greed, hate, and delusion. Greed to support life and to practice the way of Buddha. This food is for the three treasures, for our teachers, family, and all people, and for all beings in the 6 worlds. The first portion is for the precepts. The second is for the practice of samadhi. The third is to save all beings. Thus we eat this food and awaken with everyone.
One of the traditional Zen sayings is that there are 2 kinds of enlightenment, and one is like having a bucket of cold water dumped over your head. It just And the other is like walking along in a foggy atmosphere, and then little by little you look down at your clothes and you realize that you've become completely drenched, but you didn't notice it. You go on these and take part in them. You yourself are absorbing some of this something, what it is, I don't know, so that you come back and you feel like a little bit different person. The thing that is the most ongoing fun is when, say, somebody who hasn't done it comes there, and I'm part of, along with many other people, who are facilitating that person's being able to have this experience.
Something only lasts for a moment, even though we come here every year and it looks the same, but it always looks different. Since ancient times, wise people and sages have also lived by the water. When they live by the water, they catch fish, or they catch people, or they catch the way. These are all traditional water styles. And going further, they must be catching the self, catching the hook, being caught by the hook and being caught by the way.